All right, shalom, shalom. All right, I'm gonna get into this video. Right, I'm gonna play about 3 or 4 minutes of this video, but it's heavy. You know what I'm saying? When you break down the whole psychology of everything that they've done to us, to indoctrinate our people, to brainwash them. 1 second, right? So the spirit been having me really focus in on this, right? And really go deep into it so we can, so your brothers and your sisters can be edified. All right. But everything starts when you little. If you don't know the psychology of why you do what you do, you lost. Right. But a lot of this indoctrination programming, right, happened when we was going up into the school system and our parents was regurgitating the lies that they've been taught. Right. So that's why you have this generation pretty much bugged out. Well, they ain't no pretty much, they bugged out. And they don't know really true knowledge and they don't know the truth. At the end of the day, when everything else play out, the truth is going to stand the test of time. Right? That's how important the truth is. Everything else is going to play out on this side. Right? The vanities of vanities, right? All right. So I'm going to get into this video, then I'm going to get into this lesson. But I want you to pay attention and really, really comprehend these lessons, right? And sometimes these lessons you have to watch them 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? To really, rewatch them to really understand. So let me get into this.
For most of human history, schools didn't even exist. For most of human history, you were a kid, you just grew up learning to do whatever your parents did, learning how to survive, and then that's what you did for the rest of your life until you taught your kids how to do the same thing. Certainly in some certain periods of time, in certain places, there were school systems like in ancient Greece, but these were the anomaly, not the norm, historically speaking. But by the year 1900, there were public school systems everywhere. Compulsory, government-mandated public schooling systems where kids went and learned things that seemed arbitrary, maybe unrelated to things they would end up doing for the rest of their lives, with kids who were their same age, growing up learning things with these kids together their entire lives. For what purpose? By many measures, this public school system today is failing. Very few people are satisfied with the way our public schooling system works. But there is intentional design behind the schooling system we have today. It's not the way it is because it happened to be so. It was set up that way on purpose. The things that kids learn, and more importantly, the things they don't learn, like investing, money, taxes, finance, and even more importantly, the way they learn things, were all established intentionally with a very specific purpose in mind. And it goes back to the origin of the modern schooling system in Prussia called the Prussian model. In the year 1717, King Frederick William I of Prussia set up the very first compulsory schooling system. Now, this schooling system had one very intentional reason behind it in Prussia, and that was to turn out extremely patriotic, loyal, obedient soldiers. And the schooling system was 100% designed around that. They developed standardized testing. They valued respect for authority over intelligently trying to problem solve and think your way through your own problems. They conditioned kids for boredom and monotony, made them sit in classrooms facing one direction for long periods of time with very little breaks, had bells to signal when it was a time that you were allowed to move from one place to another, dark, boring hallways, prison-like buildings, standing in line, the inability to play outside of very specific hours, even PE, physical education, all designed to churn out like a factory a loyal, patriotic citizenry that was primed for war. Soldiers. This schooling system was filled with propaganda about the country, the state being more valuable than the family, so that when they called on you to go to war and leave your family behind, you would think it was good. Everything was about uniformity, the uniformity in the grading system. You're just one student that sits in a desk that stands in line. Even school uniforms themselves, all designed to prep these Prussian kids for military service. Now, around 1840, there was an American that was able to witness this this public schooling system. His name was Horace Mann. Horace Mann today is called the father of American schooling. After witnessing the Prussian model of schooling, he came back to America and started spreading the message far and wide. He got a bunch of very influential people on his side, including people like John D. Rockefeller, convincing them that this is what the United States needed. And obviously, they were successful. States all across the Union started instituting compulsory schooling systems for the first time in our nation's history. Up until that point, any school system that did exist was private and ran off of charity donations. It swept the nation, and over the course of the next few decades, it became very commonplace, and by the year 1900, virtually every state across America had compulsory schooling run by the state. The General Education Board was established in 1903. This was a board designed to influence exactly how the school systems across the United States were run and what was taught. But the goal in the United States, while the model was modeled after the Prussian model, the goal was different. In Prussia, the goal was to churn out a citizenry of soldiers. But in the United States, the intention was to churn out a citizenry of workers. Even today, this ideology is ingrained in Americans. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job. That's it. That's the...
All right, you saw that? That's heavy. That's heavy. You know what I'm saying? If you want to watch the whole video, let me go to it. Right? It says the truth about why they don't teach money in school, which is many layers to this stuff. Give me 1 second. All right. And I like to say this place, America, is like navigating a landfill because there's booby traps everywhere for the mind, right? They have these different doctrines, all right, that they push and promote as truth in America, starting with the school system, and that intertwines in the so-called religion system, right, to teach you nothing but lies, to keep you oppressed in many different ways, right? So you saw that, man. So these elites that's been coined the Illuminati, these Freemasons, right, the Skull and Bones, these secret societies of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, came together. And you saw what they did. They took over the school system because they want a nation of workers, not thinkers. And that's why people do what they do today. These people are literally programmed to go to work and that's all they know, right? They don't know the origin of things. These people are just bugged out. They feed them nothing but fast food, poison, right? Inundate them with nonsense on so-called television, get them the bread and circus. What I mean bread and circus, to give you entertainment. Right, that's how you know we're in the revised Roman Empire. They did the same strategies to keep the people docile, stupid, fat, and ignorant, right? And these people perpetuate this cycle to their death. It says Colossians 2:8. It says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy. We're going to kind of hone in on this word philosophy. But that's what's taught in these schools, right? And it goes into grade school. Then it evolves into this college concept, right, which is more indoctrination on steroids. And these people think they educated, so to speak. All right. But they're just good at following a curriculum. They're good at following the instructions, right? Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. That's all the so-called white man has sold into our people's mind. Deceit, deception, and confusion. It says after the tradition of men, all right? And this is on a lot of different levels as well, going back into the customs of this world, right? You can apply this to that. So this Christmas and these all these pagan holidays that's celebrated and promoted in America. It says after the rudiments of the world and not after Hamashiach. Let's go to this word philosophy. Right? Because school comes with a philosophy. They teach you and push you Christmas in school, Halloween in school, Thanksgiving. I call it Thanksgiving, Easter. All these things are inundated on you when you're a child. That's why people continue to repeat this same tradition that they was taught in the school system. They taught them a way of life. They taught them how to do everything, right? So you got to come out of that. You have to be reborn. You have to come with a new mind, a new mentality. It says philosophy. It says, I want to go to some similar words. All right. Check this out. Whew, this heavy. It says philosophy. Let me go into the definition. I'm going to go to the similar words at the very top. It says the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. So the so-called white man laid out his philosophy, right? Philosophies, right? Which is all based in lies, witchcraft, sorcery, and keeping you in perpetual state of sin. All right, let's go to this similar words. It says beliefs. That's heavy. It says credo. It says faith, convictions. So a lot of our people are convicted by this new concept of Christianity, right? They'll die defending these lies. That's how indoctrinated and brainwashed they is. It says ideas. It says thinking. Look at this. You can't make this up. The doctrine. All right. It says values, principles, ethics, worldview. So our people was taught these values and so-called morals from the standard of the world, not from the standard of the Bible, right? Let's go here. This Colossians 2:8, I'm just going to go to a different read on it. The New Living Translation at the very top. It says, don't let anyone capture you with the empty philosophies. All right. So a lot of doctrines and a lot of things are taught in the school system, and it trickles down into the so-called college, right? And these people come out puffed up with a degree, but they don't know that they're brainwashed, right? It says hound-sounded nonsense. That's what the so-called white man to do. He used all these big words to confound you and make himself sound like he intelligent than when he really is. But it's really nonsense to keep you confused. It says nonsense that come from human thinking, right? So, and from the spiritual powers of this world, rather than from Hamashiach. Let's go here. Running out of time. Time be flying by so fast. All right. Ecclesiastes 27 and 26. I wanted to hear some more stuff, but I'll catch it on the next lesson. It said, whosoever diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that setteth a trap, all right, shall be taken therein. But this pertaining to the so-called white man, right? The things that he put out here to trap our people, to keep them lost. The same, the Bible. One second. One second, so lock you. This phone bugging. All right. But yeah, he set traps for our people, starting with these educations, so-called education, these school systems, right? They took over the school system and pushed their agenda of wickedness. All right. Trap. All right. Let me go to this word trap. It says right here. It says to be forced or tricked into doing something that you do not want to do. All right. So a lot of our people are trapped in these philosophies. They trapped in this so-called education system, right? They think this is the right way. They think, the so-called white man, all right, has taught them correctly. All right. So let me go to some more. Salakia. But you get the idea. The so-called white man has set many snares, traps for our people, and it starts in your mind, because everything manifests from your mind. Your mind controls your body. What you do, what you don't do, what you eat, what you don't eat, what you say, what you don't say. All right, to control your actions. All right, and it's heavy. All right. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rachak Kodash. Shalom.